And it's muted.
Way.
That's disgusting. We just want the hat back.
No flippin' way.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most heinous crimes Mr. Krabs has committed.
I'm taking jelly off the menu.
He really got burned.
This
on
fucking
that deal.
criminal.
Number 10, exploiting Patrick. No hat for Pat. We all know Patrick is far from the bright bulb in Bikini Bottom. Even so, it's never right to take advantage of someone else's lack of intelligence or self-respect. A light joke may be good every once in a while, but Mr. Krabs gets egregious in No Hat for Pat.
Now that's the kind of mindlessness I'd pay money to see.
You mean cash money?
Upon noticing the Krusty Krab hat causes Patrick to fall down and attract a crowd, Mr. Krabs begins charging people to watch Patrick hurt himself,
Hey.
the act getting more excessive as people lose interest.
7 hours later.
He's just about his money, bro. He's about his paper. That's why these brokies don't understand. This ain't even a bad thing, bro. This don't even count.
And no, Patrick does not see a single cent out of the self-inflicted trauma. What's worse is that Patrick sees so
He
much
should
value
read
in
the
hat, he's
contract.
willing to keep harming
That's on him. That ain't on Eugene Krabs.
himself just to keep the gig.
See the part-time minimum wage employee fall from high atop this tower into this bucket of spiny sea urchins.
And Eugene suffers very little consequence in the end. Number 9, serving customers pure grease. Greasy buffoons. In this episode, Krabs and Plankton make a magical discovery that could possibly boost their sales. Grease.
Slather the grease from the second
All right.
patty onto the first
This one's sick.
And voila! It's a deluxe-y Krabby Patty.
Smelly, tasty, beautiful, fryer grease. From yummy buns to crispity crunchities, the two quickly begin a war with each other to get Bikini Bottom addicted to their food. However, Eugene is the one that hits the bottom of the barrel with what he calls wow soup, which is just pure grease on a paper plate.
This is our latest product.
That's sick.
Pure grease on a paper plate.
In the end, he and Plankton wind up coating their restaurants in the nasty crud while causing some severe health issues and injuries for their customers, and the Bikini Bottom Health Department only gives them a warning while SpongeBob swoops in to save the day.
What's going on here?
Nothing, Mr. Inspector.
I've been feeding people.
Number 8, grave robbing. One Krabs trash. Shortly after giving SpongeBob a soda drinking hat for $10, Mr. Krabs learns that the hat is highly sought after by wealthy collectors, one of them offering $1 million for it. How far is he willing to go for the chance at obtaining that cash?
I didn't want to have to do this.
But they're dead. All right. Like, that shit's sad. Okay, they're dead. But it's not theirs anymore. Okay, they're dead.
But he leaves me no other.
I'm ready for my goat. May are we gonna hop on homework?
To scare it off of him.
Insulting SpongeBob is one thing, stalking and haunting him is another thing too. But Eugene goes so far as to commit grave robbing and fight a defenseless army of the undead to retrieve the hat.
Am I really gonna defile this grave for money? Of course I am!
Thankfully, Karma makes a rare appearance in this
Hey, well,
episode.
that's fucking
By
sick.
the time Krabs returns to the collectors, they have discovered the hats were mass-produced and sitting in a warehouse loaded with them, the last of them now sitting in the dumpster.
Well, that's a spirit breaker.
Number 7, starving his employees and using them as bait. Clams. After receiving his $1 million,
Okay.
Mr. Krabs
All right, this
decides to
one's
take his
objectively
employees on
wrong.
a fishing trip. Aw, how thoughtful.
Yeah, no,
When the
this
buck
is
eaten
okay.
by a
They
giant
come with this
clam,
one.
his whole attitude shifts.
Nah. This shit was sick. This episode, Mr. Krabs really didn't give a fuck. W
No one
SpongeBob.
leaves the boat until the dollar is back in his pocket, and Eugene even goes
Yeah,
so
this thing has a devious fucking smile, bro. This is sick. This is sick.
far as to toss all of their food out.
Now I think we understand each other.
Thinking, what's wrong with you?
Nobody eats until I
Bro,
get
swinging
my
this episode, that's all I'm
$1
saying.
back.
But what makes the trip even more of a nightmare?
Nigga. Right. So, bro, tweaking this episode. This nigga is doing fucking jumping rope with his fucking eyes. This shit is sick.
decides to tie up SpongeBob and Squidward to use as live bait.
That's sick.
There's only one use for a backstabbing crew like you. Live bait.
Krabs does manage to get his dollar back with his employees' lives still intact, but at what cost? Everything but his head and one arm. Number 6, spreading misinformation, the Krabby Chronicle. A tabloid known as the Bottom Feeder has inspired Mr. Krabs to start up a newspaper of his own to sell juicy stories.
You could say something like, "Oh, man, Mary's pole." Then you could alter the photo a little to fit the headline and see? Now that's a juicy story.
In order to sell as many copies as possible, he has SpongeBob use a little imagination to come up with bogus stories. This initially excites SpongeBob until he starts to find out his stories are severely affecting people's lives.
Mr. Krabs, we're hurting people.
Oh, baloney. You better start feeling right, because if you don't, you can just kiss your spatula goodbye.
Mr. Krabs, you wouldn't.
Oh, darn tootin' I would.
Mrs. Puff loses all of her students, Larry is banned from the gym, Sandy loses her science awards, and Plankton sees the chum bucket get shut down. Fortunately, Eugene's scheme comes crashing down when SpongeBob spends a whole night writing the wildest story ever. And how does the episode end? Oh, with the start of a counterfeiting scheme.
Pays his tired, underage reporter pennies while he rakes in the dough.
How could you do that to such an innocent child?
Number 5, the Jelly House, Jellyfish Hunter. Mr. Krabs already has a history of stealing from animals. Remember when he stole Clamu's pearl in the smoking peanut?
But it's free day.
But his theft in Jellyfish Hunter is worse. When SpongeBob's jelly patty starts selling like hotcakes, Eugene tasks him to go out and capture every jellyfish in Jellyfish Fields.
How's about you go catch me some of those little money fish?
But the illustrious unnamed blue jellyfish pays a visit to SpongeBob, and the fry cook discovers a horrifying sight.
Mr. Krabs really might be a villain.
To fully extract every jellyfish before dumping them in the trash. We're just glad to see the jellyfish exact their revenge, and it's bad enough to convince Mr. Krabs
My God, what a go to show.
jelly patties.
The thing that's crazy is that literally every single episode they've brought up for all of these have all been good.
That's it, boys. Keep that gelatinous gold a-flowing.
Number 4, the amusement park scam. In the first few minutes of Krabby Land,
Hey, this happened in real life.
you learn Krabs has his own tactics for scamming kids out of their parents' money.
Well, during this summer break, the children wander bikini bottom unsupervised. They're fucking
Lima
allowance,
beans.
free to spend their money without any parental guidance whatsoever.
This summer, he has a new method in the form of Krabby Land, a botched playground that looks fun.
Did it really?
Tetanus.
Okay, money. Children. It's time for the grand
Money.
Money. Krabby Land.
Even promises the appearance of a special character named Krabby the Clown, which turns out to just be Mr. Krabs with a dumb tie and a blue tomato on his nose. Karma makes another increasingly rare appearance here.
Hey, I ain't cheap. Now take this tomato back to the kitchen before it spoils.
The kids
Nah, how did we get here? Hello?
riot, take their money back, and Eugene is left tied up and forced to eat lima beans. Number 3, selling SpongeBob. Born again
Now, this being number 3 is crazy.
Krabs. It was bad enough that Krabs had a Pinch-O-Matic installed in his trash cans to save a nickel. But then, to try and sell people a patty that is clearly way past its expiration is just plain corrupt. And yet, it's not even the worst thing Eugene has done this episode.
If you had to choose between SpongeBob and all the money I have in my pocket, which would you take?
That depends. How much money are we talking about?
Breaking his
That is fucking crazy.
promise to stop being cheap has caused the Flying Dutchman to pay him a second visit and take Mr. Krabs to Davy Jones' locker. After SpongeBob vouches for his boss, the Dutchman takes him up on a bet to see how much he values others over money.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but how could you trade SpongeBob for
Squidward being on SpongeBob's side in anything immediately makes you fucking wrong.
62 cents?
You think I could have gotten more?
Peak.
To no one's surprise, Krabs takes a whopping 62 cents instead of keeping his loyal fry cook.
He snaps his fucking arm for fucking 3 dimes.
Cents instead
This shit
of
is
keeping his loyal fry cook. Absolutely soulless. And it wasn't the first time he's
this
put
game they
SpongeBob's
gave
well-being
the
on the line. Anyone else
refund when
remember
they
he
give
played
it
cards with
back.
Plankton and
They
gambled
might just
SpongeBob's
be
contract?
ass.
Shameful.
I bet your contract. and I lost.
Number 2, tormenting plankton, 1-course meal.
I did hear about this.
Call off your daughter, Krabs! Call her off!
She's a big girl, Plankton. I have no control over what she does. Oh, and you better watch out. I think she's extra hungry today.
We all knew this episode would turn up sooner or later. 1-course
Yeah,
meal.
this
Mr. Krabs.
was newer shit, so I never watched the episode, but I've heard they put fucking Plankton
His
throughout.
worst in terms of his general character. When he learns that Plankton is afraid of whales, Krabs decides to dress up as his own daughter just to keep his rival from stealing the formula again.
I'm hungry.
What starts out as a simple scare tactic turns into stalking, harassment, and torment. It soon causes Plankton to become a shut-in, unable to sleep, and eventually laying in the middle of the road, hoping for a bus to squash him. Yikes.
He broke him. He drove him to suicide. And I'm laughing. It's fucked up.
What's the point of going on? I'll just be tortured for the rest of my life by that whale.
Before we continue, be sure to
Jesus
subscribe
Christ,
to our
yeah,
channel
that shit
and ring
was
the bell
OD.
to get
I was like,
notified
nah,
about
what
our
the
latest
fuck
videos.
were they
You have
writing?
the option to be notified for occasional videos.
No.
Number 1, the nasty
Cook up. Cook the fuck up.
Nasty Patty. Upon learning about a
I wanna watch this episode right now.
various restaurants out of free food, Mr. Krabs becomes so enraged that he turns an easy ass in health inspection into his worst crime yet.
Why, that's the most
Nigga unmuted and coughed.
Krabby Patty ever spawned.
I call
Shit
it
is-
the nasty patty.
The
He and
nasty
SpongeBob cook up
patty.
the grossest Krabby Patty possible.
That shit's
made of
sick.
toenails,
Okay, but Diggy, like, this also his fucking fault. You see this burger? Diggy, does he have eyes? That's on him.
mold, then laugh at the inspector choking. When realizing the inspector was
Look at him
legitimate,
choke.
you think they might have
Look at him
killed
suffer.
Patty, terrified by the consequences of their dark deed.
Nah, them both throwing each other under the bus was sick. So SpongeBob being, you're the one that served it to him.
The attempt to
Mr.
bury
Krabs really a
lies to the
bitch.
police.
Listen here, you little barnacle. No one, and I mean no one, can ever know about this. It'll be the end of you, it'll be the end of me.
And despite all of this, the cops and inspector let them get off from conspiring and still let them pass the inspection. No consequences whatsoever. And would you believe this wouldn't be the last time Krabs tried to commit murder and hide it? Just look at the Out of the Picture episode.
I have done everything I could to get you away from here safely. Now you're messing with me money.
Oh my god.
What do you think is the worst thing Mr. Krabs has done? Did it make our list? Let us know in the comments below.
Nah, W fucking episode. I think every episode they brought up was actually amazing.